Welcome back. This video is going to be the long-term review of my IV multi-scale 5-string headless bass. When I started making this video, my initial idea was just doing a change of the strings because I didn't know how that worked. So of course you start with loosening the strings. You got to remove these caps on bridge, and then you got to loosen the nut, and then you can pull the strings out. This 5-string, it's a little difficult to take the strings in and out of there. Just the angles, the string gets caught a lot. So I had been playing and I had cut my left hand on the nut here. It was sharp, so I'm just filing down the edges of the nut here. You can actually see on my left hand there the mark. It's still healing at the time that I was filing this down, right where the knuckle is. I'm just trying to be careful here and not file the fretboard at all, just to not damage it, so I was moving slow and steady. And then putting the strings back in here, they do get stuck a little in the channel, and I have to use a screwdriver to kind of pull up the string so that I can grab it and pull it through. Not too big of an issue, although I will say that after this whole process, I am not a fan of this bridge setup, and at some point I'm gonna probably be looking at replacing that. Hopefully I can find some type of bridge setup that isn't exorbitantly expensive for this. There's a lot of things about the bridge on this bass that is absolutely horrendous to be able to set up without paint. You can see I'm having some trouble here getting the 5-string through. It really did take some effort to get it through there. But the setup of this bridge is it's not good, and when these bridges were installed, they're slightly misaligned. When I tune it up here, the 5-string is just slapping on the fretboard and actually making it so that I can't really tune the 5-string at all. It's barely registering a note on the tuner. So here's my first foray into trying to make adjustments, and you can see that I'm having to move the string out of the way so that I can get access to the little brass saddle. And I did shim the neck too during the process. It just the height of the strings, yeah, just it needed to be shimmed just a hair, and I used a little bit of plastic on there in the neck pocket. Once I had the neck seated, I used a screwdriver to push it kind of further back in the neck pocket than where I had initially set it down at. See, I've still got high string height, and so I'm trying some truss rod adjustments, still having slapping on the 5-string, and just trying to figure out why it's now doing this when it wasn't doing it before I changed the strings. So I decide to start making some more bridge adjustments, and this is where my hatred of this bridge setup really sets in. You can see I have to move the string out of the way for one, and I have to use an Allen key to loosen the saddle so that I can pull it up, but there's not really a way to grip those saddles. You can see I'm using a pair of tweezers here to try and pull up on the saddle and use the Allen key to set the height, and it's very difficult to do with the strings on the base. I had tons of trouble and scarred up that saddle quite a bit, to the point where I did have to use a file to kind of smooth out the rough edges from scraping the tweezers against it. And those they're not metal tip tweezers either, they're ceramic tipped tweezers, but yeah, there's just nothing to grip onto to pull it up, and if I use anything like a pair of pliers to pull it up, it's going to scar it even worse. So it makes adjusting the saddle height really, really difficult. We can see here that it's really, the string height is really high. Yeah, I mean, it is sky high off of the fretboard here after making the saddle adjustments. You can see some of the frets are actually a little uneven, and you can see me rocking back and forth the ruler that I was using. And even with the string height this high, the 5 string is still slapping against the 1st fret. So obviously something's majorly wrong here. And come to find out, the strings that I chose, the string starts tapering before it hits that 0 fret. And so the string sits incorrectly. Didario NYXLs fixed the problem immediately. No, it's no longer slapping, and I was able to make more bridge adjustments, which were a pain, as you saw. But that did lower my string height, and it instantly fixed the problems that I was having with the string change. There are the saddle pieces, some of them are touching. They're been installed not straight, as you can see here. The A string is touching the E string saddle or bridge piece. So things like that are frustrating, even with the issues it has. If you're not sure if you want to get a multi-scale bass or if you'll like playing it, this would be a good entry option into that field, because all the other multi-scale basses out there are expensive. So it's a good starting point, but you're going to have problems with it. And if you're not handy at making your own adjustments and on your instrument, then you might have to pay for a setup on it to fix some of those problems. Anyways, thanks for watching.